Hello, my friends. It's Jules Caldwell coming to you again with another Inspirations Showcase. Really excited to introduce my guest with me today. Her name is Erica Carson Sami from CARCO Disability Strategies. Hi, Erica. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
So glad you could be here. And I'm really excited to have this opportunity to have a conversation with you. And so, for those of us who are, or those who are just joining, Erica and I have known each other for a few years. We had the great opportunity to work together on a really neat project called the David Cialny Initiative at Carleton University, where we were working towards addressing employment for post-secondary students with disabilities. And since that project ended, Erica has been out using her superpowers. And she has recently started her own business. And so, Erica, before we jump into your business and getting some information about how that works, what I'd love to do is just step back and talk about the path that led you to decide about how you wanted to branch out and use your superpowers to help clients achieve what they want out of life.
Yeah, so I it's an interesting story because I think I've kind of had this entrepreneurial spirit that's kind of been trying to break its way through
I
for
love it.
quite some time now. Like, I think at least 2018, and I've been participating in programs here and there with the Impact Hub to kind of get things going, try and think of different ways of getting my work out there. And um, as happened for many of us, I think the pandemic put those who had things on hold. It kind of pushed some of us forward.
Yes, agreed.
Um, yeah, and I think it just made us realize, what are we doing uh, when life is so fragile? And so it could, without being too morbid, it could be gone very quickly. So let's do what we love while we're here
Yeah.
and make a difference.
Agreed. Oh, I so much love what you just said because I think at the end of the day, every day we have is a gift. And I personally believe we're all here for a reason. And, we have gifts and talents and abilities that are meant to be used not just for our own growth and well being, but for giving back to the community and supporting others and supporting them to become all that they want to be. So I love that you just shared that. So tell us a little bit about your journey to this point in your life, and as you're comfortable, a little bit about your disability.
Yeah, so I was born with cerebral palsy. It affects kind of like my mobility, mainly my fine motor skills. So, and I just had the most wonderful parents, and they just, I don't know how they did it. I was their first and only child with a disability, but they somehow rocked it. And like, I have two older sisters, but like, they're able bodied. So they just struck this balance of, let's not focus too much on it, but let's not kind of ignore it completely. And that's kind of the sweet spot, I think, is when you ignore it or you put too much emphasis on it, you're not doing anyone any favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there, I kind of just went through life, and childhood can be challenging with kids being kids,
Yeah.
and sometimes they're a little harsh. But you get through. And when I got to university, I met a TA, a teaching assistant who was doing her schooling in disability studies.
Hmm.
And I was just like, what is that?
Hmm.
And I started to get really into it, really see disability as a rich cultural community. I started participating in events, and I came from a really small town, and I was one of the only like physically disabled kids. So it was a really refreshing to see people, out and about and
Yeah.
proud and happy to be who they were.
Mm.
So that kind of brought me to social work, and how can I help people with disabilities feel comfortable in their skin and be proud of who they are, because we have so much to contribute, and it's really still under recognized
Yeah.
by broader society. So I wanted to see how I could contribute to that. And I just being in the disability and employment
Yeah.
space, I found a niche that I really loved, and realized the strong connection between, if a person with a disability is employed and supported, it really helps their confidence. And uh, so this is kind of the story leading up to Carco. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I know that I've heard you talk about how you've personally have experienced many gaps in services and systems that create barriers for navigating through life. And you've spent a good chunk of your career helping people with disabilities increase their knowledge and confidence in searching for and retaining employment. And I love that because I think at the end of the day, we all have a purpose, and we all want to find that place that we can bring our impact in the world. And so I love that you've identified, like you said, that niche and that where there was this gap and this opportunity for you. So Erica, when did you hear that, so what I call that still small voice that spoke to you and said you need to start your own business, CARCO Disability Strategies? What's your why?
Yeah. My why. I think it just, I always knew I wanted to make a difference
Hmm.
for people with disabilities. I wanted them to feel comfortable and um, accepted and proud of themselves and their disabilities. And um, the fact that some people just feel so down about themselves when
Yeah.
they are truly remarkable people is
Yeah.
just heartbreaking to me. Um, so even though I had that like ongoing entrepreneurial spirit that wanted to do something, the kind of logical or logical, I don't know, thought was, well, you should have stable career with
Yeah,
benefits. Life is hard as
security and yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then I suddenly just was all like, this is enough. I need to make a change. If if it it doesn't work, but I will never know if I don't try, and I don't want to have regrets. So
Mm.
let's do it.
Oh my goodness, my friend, I just love that you just said that because, sometimes there is that thing that, not just for women, but for everybody where we want to do it, but we let our fear take over in doing that. And I love that you just said, you know what? I don't want to live with regrets and I'm going to do it. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, I'll have learned something along the way and it'll be part of the journey that you've been on. Congrats. That's
Yeah,
super amazing. I kudos to you for just saying, I'm going to do it.
thank you. And there's always fear. It's not going away. I still have fear that it won't be what I want it to be, but um, you gotta work with it and see where it takes you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We were talking just before we started recording about how, building a business, you have this passion and this strength and this thing that you want to do and to have impact. And there's so many things that get involved in, that you have to do or that is next as you build your business. And sometimes it's hard to find that balance between, hey, I actually just want to do what I love and help people and bring impact versus take care of the bills or, do those different, operational things that need to happen. And I know for myself, as I built my business, that's one of the things that I've had to intentionally decide to let go of worrying about and just focus on what I love and allow, the rest of it to all just sort of work itself out. But you got to have a bit of balance in there.
Yeah, well, the thing for me too is, um, I when I was oh, when was that? When I was doing my master's in social work, I had a traumatic brain injury,
Oh,
and it really kind of made things happen a bit slower.
mhm.
And to this day, it affects um, my daily day,
Yeah.
and so really it was also part of the business, because like the idea to start a business, because when you're doing these 9 to 5s, it's really hard to get some rest in between an appointment or a meeting, or so this kind of gave me the freedom to um, make my own schedule and do and empower myself,
Yeah.
because here I was, this empowered disabled woman, but I was being disempowered by a structure of employment and workforce that really relies on productivity
Yeah.
and um, a very specific way of working, that we can do great things in different chunks at different points in the day. And I think the pandemic certainly taught us of that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, one of those great like what, while there were definitely some challenges and not so great times during the pandemic, I think it certainly showed that there are different ways of doing work. And I think, again, each of us, we think differently, we function differently, our times of day where we perform at our best are different. And so I love that what I hear you saying is you've created almost like this time freedom for yourself that allows you to really be the best that you can be at the times that you're the best that you can be for the people that you're serving.
That's it. That's exactly right. Because
Nice.
I was getting up and I was working and doing great things, but I knew I could do it better if I was doing it at different times and with having rest or not being on the screen constantly all day.
So Erica, and we've been talking about some of the, some of the what's the right way of putting it? Building a business, how it can be challenging. And so tell us a little bit about how on those days where maybe you're feeling like, oh my goodness, there's just so much to do or what have you. How are you overcoming some of those moments that keep you motivated enough to move forward in what you're doing and that purpose and passion that you have?
Yeah, so I feel like my biggest struggle, without a doubt, has been how do I make this a profitable
Yeah.
business, but still make it like financially um accessible to a community that sometimes struggles with
Yeah.
uh, economic difficulties. And so it's still something to this day that I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
But I so often I was like, no, I have to shut it down. It isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And um, I just had to realize, otherwise, no one's gonna get this service. Sure, there are versions of things out there, but there's also like eligibility criteria or funding, restrictions. And so some people are being falling through the cracks because of that.
Yeah.
So I I started to imagine that I wanted to help the people falling through those cracks, and who would do it if I wasn't gonna do it myself. Not
Nice.
that there's no one else in the
No,
world,
of
but
course. But you bring your own brilliance and unique perspectives and ways of doing things through your own experiences that nobody else can. So I
yeah.
love that. Erica, who are you serving in your business? Is it anybody with a disability? Is there a specific group? Give us a little bit of a sense of who you're hoping to work with and really support as you grow your business.
Yeah, so I work with all people with disabilities.
Okay.
Right now, I kind of offer two streams.
Okay.
One which focuses on transitions.
Okay.
So if you're moving out of your family home for the first time, what do you need to have related to disability to kind of succeed and go forward? Because I I moved back home so many times before I
Yeah.
actually moved out because I wasn't aware of what I needed on the other end. So other things would be students going to post secondary, you know, different transitions that we we expect people to just figure out, but it's not that easy when you have additional barriers to consider.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that if I help people, they won't have to move out like 4 times before it's successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just love that when you talk about transitions, I think that's just such an important part of the journey. And you know, transitioning out and moving out on your own is one thing, and then transitioning out, moving on your own, and starting work in whatever environment, you know, comes with so many pieces there. So I just love that. Now, Erica, I feel like I could talk with you for a really long time today, but I, I don't want to keep us too long. So if, as we wrap up, let me ask you one last question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for other women who are out there, or anybody who's listening, who is on the edge or wanting to take that leap of faith and start, whether it's a business, whether it's volunteering, whatever it is? What advice do you have for somebody who's percolating something and thinking about maybe going ahead? What would you share to say with them?
Yeah. I think it really boils down to happiness
Mm,
and what will make you happiest.
mm,
Um, you know, I loved the work I did, but I still do it, but
yeah,
I wanted to do it differently, and
love
I
it.
knew that would make me happy.
Yeah,
So taking a risk is really important. Of course, we all have to pay bills and
yeah,
live. So make sure you have a safety net. But
yeah,
um, your happiness is so important. So listen to that voice. You know, if you don't have that voice, it's you're probably fine. So if you hear it,
yeah,
follow it
yeah.
and see where it takes
Mm.
you.
I love it. If you hear it, follow it. I love that. I love it. Erica, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm just realizing I completely forgot to put the banner up that has also your website on it. And so if people want to learn more about what you do, or are interested in maybe engaging with you and using your services, they could check out CARCO Disability, CARCO Disability.ca. And they can connect with you through there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. And so, folks, this has been a really amazing conversation with my good friend Erica Carson Sami. She started CARCO Disability Strategies. If you know, you or someone you know is looking for some supports on their employment journey, Erica is the one to go to, you know, really help you create that unique plan or path for where you want to go and what you want to do at this point in your life. So Erica, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad that we have stayed connected. I wish you all the best as you continue to build your business, and I look forward to seeing where it goes next.
Thank you so much, Julie, and likewise.
Thank you, my friend. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for being here and joining the journey for the Inspiration Showcase. It really is just this conversation between amazing women who are just listening to that still small voice and saying, yes, I'm going to do it, maybe with a little bit of fear and trepidation, but still going forward in that boldness and that faith. So in living and loving the life you live, have a great rest of your day. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see you on the next Inspiration Showcase.
Bye.